Hey everyone, welcome back to ChaatNChat. My name is Josh.
My name is Miguel.
And we are watching Chhaava. This is part 3. So if you missed part 1 or part 2, you can go click that playlist in the description of this video where you can go watch both of those parts and then join us right back here. And as a reminder, we are watching this live with our YouTube Gold members as well as our Patreon Chat Omega fans. So it's super exciting, it's a lot of fun, and we're having a good time. And if you want to join for the next one, you can go over to our Patreon page by clicking that link in the description of this video where you can find a bunch of other stuff too, like early access and members only polls. और अगर अब तक नहीं किया, subscribe करो, share करो और like button पर थप्पड़ मारो.
ये गुफा कभी खत्म नहीं होगी शंभू, पर आपको रुकना नहीं है.
Those callbacks to his childhood are pretty intense.
महाराज तो मुगलों का मुहूर्त निकाल के बैठे हैं. जैसे ही इशारा करेंगे हम टूट पड़ेंगे.
महाराज इशारा करना भूल तो नहीं गए बाबा? सेना तो निकल रही है अंबा घाट से होते हुए.
They're Mongols.
Oh, yeah, that's not their troops.
ये तो मुगलों की सेना है. क्या? संगमेश्वर की तरफ महाराज की ओर बढ़ रही है. उनसे पहले हमें महाराज के पास पहुंचना होगा संता. हवा की गति से तोड़ना होगा.
संगमेश्वर पहुंचने का सबसे छोटा रास्ता अंबा घाट से होते हुए जाता है. ये बात मुगलों को कैसे पता?
They have a traitor. Can't they like raise an alarm or something like that?
You would think that they would
Like
have
some pyre or
system
something?
to.
Alarm, like something.
Are we gonna find out who the traitor is?
अगर संबा संगमेश्वर में नहीं मिला तो सोच लीजिए ये 5000 मायूस दिल तुम्हारा क्या हश्र करेंगे.
Ah, the two brothers. I.
खुद
That
बरसों
would
से
kind.
टूटे दिल के साथ जी रहे हैं मुकर्रम साहब.
Yeah,
ऐसा हम किसी और के साथ क्यों करेंगे?
because you were out for yourselves.
भरोसा रखिए, संभा संगमेश्वर में ही है. केवल 150 की सेना के साथ.
गिरकान ही नहीं, पूरा कोणकण तोहफे में देंगे आपको.
And if you think they're being honest for 1 second, these guys are crazy.
Again, your selfishness blinds you to reality.
महाराज को बता दो संता. हर हर महादेव.
Well, if they were trying to be sneaky with going through the forest, having all those torches were not the great idea.
किसने हमारी पीठ पे और स्वराज की छाती पे छुरा भोंका? कन्हू जी और कन्हू जी. सदा के लिए अपनी ईमानदारी साबित करने का इससे अच्छा मौका फिर कहाँ मिलेगा? 20 मावलों की टुकड़ी तैयार है आपको सुरक्षित रायगढ़ ले जाने के लिए. कृपा करके आप यहाँ से तुरंत निकल जाइए. चंदोगा मात्या.
It's not his style.
कभी शेर के छावा को कुत्तों के पिल्लों से डर के भागते हुए देखा है. हमारा जंगल में दहाड़ने का मन कर रहा है. जा भवानी.
Well, they bottleneck him. No. I like his like lion claw brass
Yeah, that is
knuckle.
pretty cool.
thing. And it's smart too because in these tight quarters, how are you going to swing a sword?
Exactly.
So having these like melee weapons are. Oh my god.
Oh, jeez.
Dude. That was making me claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Dude.
Ah, jeez.
Like,
Oh, wow, wow,
being
wow,
able
wow,
to
wow.
push them all back, like, requires strength. But then again, he went hand to hand with a lion, so he's certainly.
So
has
it
the
went
strength.
well into the night? Is this what this is implying, or is this outside?
Oh, and it just keeps fighting. Oh my god. They're like swarming like ants. Jeez. And how many? They only had like 150 or something?
Yeah.
Whoa! What is that?
New action game came in
Like-
here. New action tool.
Like gauntlet swords? I've never seen something like that.
Oh, they got the upper deck.
Just the thought of what two traders could do.
Yeah.
नहीं महाराज, हम आपको छोड़कर नहीं जा सकते।
Oh yeah, it's just too many. They need that entire army just for this one guy.
हजारों सिपाहियों से एक इंसान काबू नहीं हो पा रहा है।
ये राजा जंगल के राजा से भी खूंखार है।
जब तक उसके हाथ खुले हैं वो काबू में नहीं आएगा।
Gee. Well, he certainly didn't go down easy.
Wow. Just, ugh.
Gotta respect that tenacity, though. It's pretty hard to watch. Dude, if they don't get their comeuppance, I'm gonna be real pissed.
Yeah, you're
Like,
gonna
I need to
get
see those
yours.
guys get paid.
No, I don't think he's gonna let himself be presented that way.
दोबारा को जी चाहना संभव कैद हो चुका है।
For how long, though?
Dude, this guy's on death's doorstep. Look at him. He's just getting worse and worse looking. Man, this skeleton just needs to fall over.
Yeah.
Also, they might regret not taking him out immediately.
Yeah. Maybe Akbar is gonna make a play here. Because he wants to put on his crown again.
खुदा तेरी बनाई दुनिया तबाह होने से बच गई।
It ain't over yet.
अब तक औरंग महाराज से दूर था, फिर भी वो चैन की सांस नहीं ले पाया। पर अब महाराज उसके सामने होंगे, वो मौत को तरसेगा। आप बस प्रार्थना कीजिए, ऐसे गणों जी और कान्हों जी किसी शत्रु के घर भी पैदा ना हो।
That's a hefty curse. Dude, everyone there is like, this guy is not human.
Right.
Like, he's something more.
I don't think this thing that they're gonna strap him to is gonna hold him.
After all this time, they're now face to face. It's like
9 साल से अपनी हर नमाज में इसके दीदार की दुआ मांगते रहे.
Get what you want, and it may not go the way you like.
रायगढ़ की सजी धजी महफिल ना सही, लेकिन शहंशाह की खुशी को दुगनी करने के लिए अपने मुंह से मोती छलका ही दीजिए. फौज तो तेरी सारी है, पर जंजीर में जकड़ा राजा मेरा अब भी सब पे भारी है.
dropping those lyrics to the time he died.
हमारा गोश्त अपने कुत्तों के आगे ही परोसना. इसी बहाने उन्हें थोड़ी वफादारी चखने को मिल जाएगी और उनकी आने वाली पुश्तों की जिंदगी संवर जाएगी. क्या है ये स्वराज जिसके लिए तुम अपनी जान देना चाहते हो?
सह्याद्री के पहाड़ों में, गोदावरी की लहरों में, रायगढ़ की मिट्टी में, जालना की गलियों में. जो स्वराज को तो मिटाने चला है और अंग वो कोई सल्तनत नहीं है. छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की सोच है.
It can never be destroyed, can never be obtained.
कैदों शहंशाह के सामने फिर भी आंखों में वही आग, सर पर वही जुनून.
बहुत कुछ बदल गया आरंग. हमने तो इन आंखों में अहंकार और सर पर एक ताज भी देखा था. आज दोनों नजर नहीं आ रहे.
इसे इतना दर्द हो कि जब वो अपनी मौत की भीख मांगे तब भी उसके मुंह से सिर्फ चीखें ही निकले.
क्षमा करना छंदुगा मात्या, हमारी वजह से आपको इस पीड़ा से गुजरना पड़ रहा है.
इस पीड़ा में ही जीवन का सुख है महाराज.
रिहा कर रहे हो क्या? इनके शब्द इच्छाधारी हथियार हैं. कभी तीर बन जाते हैं, कभी तलवार. परिवर्तन का एक नारा है. ये अंधकार कुछ पल का है, फिर सब कुछ तुम्हारा है.
Defiant and passionate to the end.
कविताएं खत्म हुई राजे, अंत में जीत आपकी हुई. तुम तिलक हमारे माथे.
खींच लो सारे नाखून इसकी उंगलियों से.
These people are the worst. They're like, okay, get 20 guys to hold him down.
He still has his little claw things, doesn't he?
Oh! Still got some roar in him. Oh God, oh. Hell.
सारे नाखून छील लिए, पर संबा के चेहरे पर दर्द नजर तक नहीं आया.
Dude, that lady is sick, man.
Mm-hmm. It's not giving him any pleasure.
जिजाऊ साहब ने हमसे भी एक बात कही थी कि शंभू, यीशु कोई साधारण स्त्री नहीं.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, talk about salt. Dude, even salt in the wounds.
It's a psychological war on him. It's killing him.
This could be going
Wow.
on for days.
लहूलुहान खड़ा है, पर चीखे तो क्या, उसके मुंह से उफ तक नहीं निकल रही.
आंखें.
Oh God, man, this guy just has no limits.
They all don't have any limits.
अपनी आंखें तो बंद कर लीजिए जनाब. देख क्या रहा है, निकाल दे आंखें.
Dude, this is just... This guy's gotta be... He looks ancient now. I'm gonna just die.
तू क्या हमें मौत से डराएगा? हमारी मौत मराठों के हर घर एक नया सिवा एक नया संभव पैदा करेगी, लेकिन जब तू मरेगा तब ये तेरी मुगल सल्तनत भी मर जाएगी।
हमारी बंजर जमीन पर ऐसे फूल क्यों नहीं खिलते?
Dude, he's getting frustrated now. It's like, I just want to put my crown on, dude.
Yeah.
Finally got tired of standing.
Well,
They're like-
it's also demoralizing to the
troops. They
the
don't
troops
wanna
because
see
they're
it.
like going, this guy is more than.
हमसे हाथ मिला लो,
What?
मुगलों की तरफ आ जाओ,
Yeah, right.
जिंदगी बदल जाएगी। बस तुम्हें अपना धर्म बदलना होगा।
This guy is on another level.
हमसे हाथ मिला लो, जिंदगी बदल जाएगी और धर्म भी बदलना नहीं पड़ेगा।
Wow! Kick that back at him.
छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज को शेर कहते हैं औरंग, और शेर के बच्चे को छावा।
He's now controlling the narrative because he's like,
God, man. Oh, it's too much.
प्रौढ़ प्रताप पुरंदर क्षत्रिय कुलावतंस महाराजाधिराज छत्रपति रामराजे महाराज की।
संभा अपनी मौत का जश्न मनाकर चला गया और हमें छोड़ गया अपनी जिंदगी का मातम मनाने।
you got nothing.
मराठों का छत्रपति अब भी जिंदा है।
Yeah, like he said.
मुस्तफा, आलमगीर,
Hate to be that messenger.
काश हमारी एक औलाद संभा जैसी होती। हिंदुस्तान क्या, दुनिया मेरी होती। जलन होती है उस सिवा से मुस्तफा, जिसके घर ऐसा छावा पैदा हुआ।
And that's exactly it. You are not the right type of guy that can father a kid like that. Whoa.
Dramatic lighting, yeah.
भाई साहब,
जी शंभू,
His mom.
Yeah, what a way to end that.
Whew. Wow, what a.
That was real. I mean, oh, jeez. I don't know. The last like 15, 20 minutes. I mean, it felt like a lot longer than 20 minutes. I have no idea how long that was, but that was too much. Too much for me. Like it was just,
They definitely lived up to who they were as far as the Mongols, you know, being just the vicious, not even sure what to call them, culture, clan, whatever, you know, and they were blinding themselves to everything that was possible. I think that was one of the things that it started off with, you know, about, you know, the acceptance of all religions and all cultures and all castes and so forth. So, you know.
well, that's one of their big kind of downfall things, right? Is what the Mughals were doing, and they were like taxing any non-Muslims, and they showed it like taking all their wealth and all that sort of stuff, and that's what a lot of the fighting back was for, is like and then invading the land. And not only that, but forcing a religious change and saying like, even for him, like at the very end, he's like, hey, you join our hand and you can have a better life. You just have to change your religion. And it's like, that's the thing that they couldn't understand, is that the religion, it's not just this thing that you can just change and just be like, okay, sure, like that sounds good to me. And it runs so much deeper, and it's so much more. It runs through the veins, as he was saying, and it's ancestry, and before that, and before that, and before that, it's even more than what I think the Mughals could comprehend is what religion means.
Well, and it's not something that they can tangibly touch, or it's kind of like, we want to control the air. We want to grab all the air and hold the air and everything. You can't do that. It's just not possible. And they're trying to grab something and defeat something, and master it and control it and reign over it. It's not something that you can do that with. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, one thing I did really like about this movie is the music. Like, I really, like, the music got me super jazzed. Like, there was only one time, and it was when all of his men were kind of falling around him. And then when he got like extra strength and just kind of started pushing back, the music sort of like changed to more of like almost a peppy tone, where like his people were falling, like his main generals and all of the people that were his close advisors were falling. And then that is the one time that I sort of didn't really get the right vibe from what music they were like. And right when he got that big piece of wood and started pushing him back, it only lasted for maybe like 15 seconds or something, but that was the only part that I thought that the background music didn't really fit the mood. But the rest of the time, I was really into it. Like the music, especially for Akshay Khan's character, is like, for him, like by the way, I barely recognize him. Like, just in his mannerisms, you can recognize him a little bit, Akshay Khan, and but they did a phenomenal job at like transforming him, because like that was just, he was unrecognizable.
I gotta say, overall, this was very visually rich. I mean, even the gore, which was very on point, and then you add the sound effects as well as the music. It was just a very rich, you felt pulled into it. That was the thing for me, was I was like, wow, this is one of these movies that you really, and again, would have loved to have seen this in a big screen. Yeah, this would have been so immersive. Yeah, 100%. And I think in a lot of ways it also might have been a bit overwhelming. I mean,
and it kind of was. So there's some controversy to this movie. So when I was seeing it in the news and that sort of stuff, I mean, one thing it did make news for is that it's doing very well box office wise. It like I was saying, it replaced Jawan as the third like highest ranked Hindi film to come from India. But it also sparked like riots near his tomb, because he's buried there, and we went there and we saw all these different tombs, right? Because they're saying they wanted it taken care, like removed and excavated, all that sort of stuff, and removed, right? Yeah, Nagpur. I was gonna say Nagpur, but I didn't want to be mistaken. So in Nagpur they had these rites, because after seeing this movie, I mean, look like at this imagery and what we had to sit through. I mean, it was horrible. Yeah. I was feeling super like gut wrenching, and it was like horrible to watch. And so for people leaving the theater, you're absolutely right. Like, if you saw this in the big screen, it definitely affected people, because then they walked out being like, oh, this guy was a freaking monster, and like super upset with everything. And then there was also a flip side to that too. So there was the people that were writing against that. Then there was another side of people saying that there's a censor board, and they try to censor all of these other movies and say, you need to show proof that this happened, that happened, this happened. Now, in the end, like when we watch movies, we're like, okay, yeah, they're going to dramatize like certain things. Now, were they horrible? Yes. Did they do horrible things? Yes. Now, you create this movie, and I thought it was an excellent movie. But on other movies that don't align with the censor board's vision and stuff, they request proof of everything that you're showing in the script. But then in this, they're like, okay, did you request proof that this all happened like that for days on end? Is that what he was doing? Now I have no idea. I'm not a scholar. I have no idea.
Right.
I'm just saying this is what I read in the news. But it's interesting to see like that the censor board on some movies are like, no, that doesn't really align with our views, and we're going to require proof for it, and then we're going to make so much cuts to this script that you don't have a movie anymore.
Right.
Whereas then other ones it's like obviously showing favoritism. But I have no idea. That's just what I was reading in the news, and not getting into the political side. But this did draw. The one thing that you can say that this movie did is it drew emotions on wherever you're looking. Every perspective, this drew emotions. And honestly, like as a film creator, like what more could you want than to drive emotions of people, and to make a statement? And they certainly made a statement with this movie.
Yes.
I'm probably going to be thinking about that. Like,
this is one of these that I'm going to probably be thinking about for a while.
And Vicky Kaushal killed it though.
Yeah.
Like he nailed it. Like he just the ferocity in his face and everything. Like he made me believe he was way more than human. Like he was on another level. Like a normal human wouldn't even compare in stature to him. And that's like the way he handled himself, the way he walked into that room when Akbar kind of like sent his little goon squad to test him.
Right.
Like the way he walked into that room and you could just hear his footsteps just so commanding. It was an empty room. We thought it was an empty room. And yet his footsteps, like we just felt his presence in this room, and he walked in like a boss. And that's what he was. He's a boss. He's a boss.
Yeah.
So,
but the other thing is that also I really liked the side of him and his wife and his family, and that more personable side, and how much of that is been again dramatized, and how much of it is documented in some way or we know about. I felt as though that added some real depth, because a lot of times you can get characters that you only think of them in one way, and you don't really, they become one-dimensional and around one particular issue or aspect of their character, and they don't have enough. So it's like, well, what other things were driving him?
it humanizes him.
Exactly.
Right?
It humanizes him, gives him more depth.
If you see him as just the warrior, because a lot of the times, so I've read in history about him and his dad. I mean, I've read a lot about his dad, but when I've read about him in history books, all that you really hear about is him being a general, and or like not general, but him being like a commander of all the forces, and that his strategies and whatnot, how many battles he won, even though the odds were stacked up against him. Those are the things that you learn about and you read about.
Right.
But then watching a movie like this, it's very interesting, as you say, like it humanizes him. It makes you connect to him a little bit more, knowing that, he is a man of a family, and he has a wife and he has kids, and his legacy goes on past all of that than on the battle.
Yeah, so I liked that, and it was tied back and forth. Even when he was there, basically dying a very slow death, she was being brought into it, and the family was being brought into it. Because that's what he was there in a way representing, and doing what was necessary to continue on for them.
Yeah.
So and even the whole bit with his mom, I love that touch at the
Yeah, that was, what a way to end the movie. Like, honestly, like that, because you were building up to it like so much, and then just at the end, that one line, because we were so used to his dad answering him or something, right? And then then we hear a female voice. Ooh, man, and we just know it. Yeah. She crowned her brother-in-law instead of her son.
Yes. So again, it was all about he was doing what he needed to do to continue for his family and his people, and all of India in a way.
So that's an interesting. So AJ said that at the very end, because I didn't know if that was his son that grew up, but he was too old, so it was his stepmother, son. So it was like his brother, like his half brother, I think.
Was it his half brother? I thought that his dad.
No, it was his younger brother, Rajaram. Yes, half brother. Yeah, it's his
okay,
half brother.
all right.
Because remember, because I think that was his stepmom, because that wasn't his mom.
Right.
And so she had a kid with his dad, and she was trying to make her son. So
the heir.
Yeah, the heir.
Right,
And
right.
so his wife, when he went missing,
Yeah. So, and his wife, she was a power broker dynamic within it. She was very wise. She grounded him. She connected with him. But at the same time, she stepped in several different places, and spoke her mind and her thoughts, and helped back him up in a way.
Yeah. Well, there is a saying that behind every powerful man is a powerful woman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, because you don't get to that level unless you have some powerful support behind you, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that holds true here. I mean, even if you want to look on the enemy side, I mean, there was that, crazy lady. I'm not really sure who she was.
She was the half brother's mom. Oh no, you mean the other one for the
Yeah, the one saying remove his tongue and
yes,
stuff.
Yes.
Even
okay,
her,
yeah,
she was kind of controlling that in a way.
Yeah.
But I mean, she was just a little
sorry.
too much. I mean, yeah, it was good. I'm with you. I wish I would have saw it on the big screen. I think it would have been even more powerful.
Yeah. But again, I think. So are we at the point where we should give it some ratings?
Yeah. I wasn't going to, just because these type of movies I don't typically like to put a rating on it, because I think it's really hard to separate out the movie versus the story. Because for me, this is history. I don't like to put a rate because it feels weird. So I'm not going to rate this. But if you want to rate it, go ahead. But I just feel weird because it's hard to separate movie from history, right?
I get you.
And some of that. So, but if we want to talk, I enjoyed it a lot. I'm glad that I watched it. It was a movie. There were some hard scenes, and if I was going to be critical on the movie side, it would just be that we spent so long, and I get that it drives the point home, but at the very end, that whole the torture scene and stuff, I mean, we saw so much of it, and I'm like, I don't know, but that's one of the things why I was so expected at the end, and I was just like, I don't know, but it's just super tough to watch. So I guess I can't really be even critical on that because it is a creative choice to show all that. But geez, I don't know. So that's what I'm gonna leave it. That's my thoughts and opinions.
I agree with you.
Beautifully shot movie though. I thought it was beautifully made, and the imagery was just outstanding.
There was imagery from the very, very start all the way through. I don't ever really think that there was really, even some of the scenes that you would think that there was not going to be a lot. I mean, the whole thing in the sugar cane fields and everything.
Yeah.
The greenness of the grass and the drone effect from above. Everything was just so detailed and vivid, and
those surprise attacks were definitely that was probably my favorite sort of section of the movie, is when they were doing all those surprise attacks,
so,
in the sugarcane field and then out of the water,
out of the water,
and then in the village when they were under the ground, and then he came up and he was all muddy. That was the imagery there was just really impressive.
So that I think was just very, very impressive. Really, really, really kudos to that. So
I mean, I guess that's a hard.
Yeah, that's
question.
hard.
That's a hard thing.
When do you say?
Because for me, so if I had to pick two things that I really liked about this, it was the first two things that I mentioned: is the music, the background score. I thought was really good, and I thought the imagery. So the lighting and the coloring and all that. So definitely the cinematographer, to me, was a big hero of the movie.
I think every time the one where I really, really liked it a lot was I loved when they were in the hall and he had all of his advisors to the side. Just the costumes,
all of
the
those
colors.
Scenes? Yeah.
Anytime they had that, when she was there, when it was just him, and I was like, wow, it was truly felt like royalty, and the way a king and his court should be.
Yeah, one thing that I really found cool is we were there at the Red Fort, and oh gosh, I always get this wrong. And Okay, I'm gonna get it. Hold on. The something. The where he holds his court. So that he has two, right? So the one where only the special advisors can come in, and then the one where the general public can come. I almost had it. Anyway, but when they showed the Red Fort and they like digitally redid a lot of that to make it look, because it looks exactly like how we went there, except like as if it was new. Because when we were there, it was like, you know, they're trying to preserve it the best that they can and all that. But there, obviously, it has to look fresh, like a lot more fresh. So it was really cool being like seeing scenes that were shot in there in places, and the elephants on, because our guide told us about that. He's like, and this is the area where they would execute people with elephants. So I mean,
So those just amazing that, you know, and again, you and I love anytime we've been to places where, you know, we know a little bit of the history and we then see it in a movie or something. That's always very cool. It makes you feel as though you're a little bit more attached to, or at least can relate to certain things. You know, when you had said, remember he was held in the apartment at the Red Fort. And he could see the Taj Mahal. And immediately my mind went back and I was like, oh, I have these great pictures actually shooting through some windows from that apartment to the Taj Mahal. So I'm like going...
I mean, calling it an apartment is a little like, I don't know if that's the right word.
His cell, it was a cell.
Well, no, I wouldn't even call it a cell. It was just like his confinement, like, you know.
So that was very cool, and I thought that was very interesting. But it definitely, Red Fort, and just there was lots of great digital effects that, you know, you could really tell that they spent some time and some money, I'm sure, quite a bit of money on it to get some of the effects that they got.
Yeah, they did. It was very clean. The whole movie. It was just very cleanly made, which I thought was very impressive.
And a lot of those movements where he was leaning back just enough and having things
choreography of the fight scenes, like that was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Like, and I mentioned it, like when he just moves just enough that he knows, he's so confident in his skill that he knows just a little to the left and the sword will just barely just miss him. And it was just like without any flinching. That is what makes him, that's part of the thing that makes him larger than life. You know, he's bigger, like he's more than human, is when those sort of things. So they definitely showed him in that light, which I thought was actually really cool. But all right, well, we are going to end it there. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate. I know it was kind of last minute. We just kind of posted it, but we're like, hey, Chhaava just released, and we want to watch it as soon as possible. That's why we're doing it on a Thursday/Friday, and it's a work day, work night. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing, sharing, and upvote the video by slapping the like button.